Hello, hello, hello. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Did you talk to your dad today? Did you talk to your kids today? So, quick message. It's late in the day on Sunday, and I don't know if it's Father's Day all over the world, but it's Father's Day in Canada, and I suspect it's Father's Day in the United States. Maybe it's Father's Day in Europe. Maybe it's finished over there, but um, I just want to talk to you a little bit from my perspective as a father and a grandfather now, and I recognize that there's so many dads, and the deeper I go into this topic, the more I talk to men or fathers who are dads in recovery, the more I see the challenges that men are having. And my story was that at 25, actually at 24, I realized that the lady in my life, that Linda, was going to have a baby. And oh gosh, I was a kid. I was 24 going on 13. You know, some of you will relate to that. I was like, what do you mean you're going to have a baby? I remember saying the worst thing that any man could probably say to the woman in his life. Are you sure it's mine? Honestly, I was terrified. And I run into men all the time that are in that spot, or in that, have been in that spot, or still trying to figure it out. And I didn't know what to do. Some of the men in my life, who I didn't have many relationships with men, by the way. I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of relationships with men, and not trusted relationships. Men were like competition in a way. I didn't have a trusted relationship with my father. I didn't know how to talk to my dad, but some men came along and said, you know what, you should do the right thing and marry her. I'm like, marry her? We're gonna have a baby? You want me to get married? And that's what happened. So I was 24 years old, and I said, yeah, okay. Now I want to tell you how afraid I was. Um, we got married on the 7th of June, and my baby girl was born on the 1st of July, 3 weeks later. I was terrified, and I had no skills. I didn't have a proper job. I was, riding my Harley. I had no plan. All my heroes were criminals. But maybe you're not like that, but lots of addicts and alcoholics will relate to that story. I was like, okay, I'll do this. Yes, okay. Yeah, oh, all right. And I did. I stepped up. And I was still drinking and using. We got married at noon because my theory was if we waited too late in the day, I probably wouldn't make it. And so we get married at noon on the 7th of June. And poor Linda, I love her. She was huge, and she wasn't getting the best pick. So if you can relate to this story so far, maybe we have some work to do. And so there we were. Emily came along. I was still 24, but at 25, so 6 months later, I realized that I had to get sober. I had to stop, I had to stop drinking. I had to stop using. I was in trouble. I knew I was in trouble when we got married, but I just had no skills, and I didn't know what to do, and I hadn't been to school. Heck, I hadn't even been to high school, let alone any post-secondary at that time, or anything like that. I was a mess, right? And so I sobered up in December, and this was quite a few years ago. But I didn't know. I really didn't know um, how to be a dad. I didn't know how to be a husband. Like I was, honestly, was the worst pick. So if you're a dad in recovery and you're relating to this story, you'll maybe we can do something together. I mean, this is what I'm doing. My commitment is to help dads in recovery to become, you know, to find their purpose, to find their connection, to find their power, to be the dad that they know that they can be, but I didn't have any adult men around me that I could talk to that that knew how to be in a relationship with a woman. I didn't know how to be honest in a relationship with a woman. I didn't. I just told them what I thought they wanted to hear, right? And so that was the deal, and I sobered up in December 1st. So 6 months my little baby girl was 6 months old, and I stopped drinking at least. And I was a long way away from well. All that happened for me when I sobered up is that I had to feel. I drank and used because it was my medicine, and it kept me from feeling. And so there I was, with all this responsibility but without even I didn't even know what I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? I had no idea how much I didn't know about being in a relationship or about being a dad. So now just, speed ahead, all these years, and I'm a granddad now, and my kids have grown up. I have two kids in recovery, and it has worked. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to do, I do remember this very early in my recovery, is I wanted to break the chain of addiction and alcoholism in my family. If you've got kids, and, it's Father's Day. It's a day when we're really thinking about our job as a dad, and I talk to a lot of dads today, and how is it going for a lot of dads, and a certain amount of them haven't had any contact today with their kids. Their kids didn't call them, and they didn't call their kids, and the connection's been broken somehow. And I mean, that's a sad thing. If you know the pain of that today, you know that that you need help, right? And if we can't be there for our children when addiction comes knocking on their door, who's going to be there for them? So somehow we have to find the healing, find the love, to rebuild the relationship with their mother, because trust has been broken, and because we overpromised in the beginning and we underdelivered, right? So there we are, dads overpromising and underdelivering, and then it's over. She doesn't want us to talk to our kids anymore. Maybe she's mad, and we start to think. Here's the terrible thought that comes to the mind of the alcoholic dad: maybe my kids would be better off without me. I want to support you that's just a lie. That is a lie. Maybe your kids will be better off with you if you actually find out how to be the dad you always wanted to be, and it can be done. How to heal those relationships, not to go to court and fight so that we get access, but how to heal the relationship with their mother, and to, be the dad we want to be. Some of you will relate to this. I remember as a young father, I didn't know how to even be with my kids. I didn't know how to play with them. My dad, didn't do that. We didn't, I didn't have a dad who was active in that way. I mean, he was, but he was way better than no dad. I love my dad, and there was lots of great qualities that he had. But my dad was also an alcoholic, and had other priorities, and I was number 4 out of 5. So by the time I came along, the novelty kind of worn off. The novelty kind of worn off. So anyway, that's the story for so many men. They didn't have a dad. There's many men are still pissed at their dad. They're like, my dad abandoned me. Well, what happened to your dad is the same thought I just talked about. Many of our dads said, probably my kids would be better off without me. It's just too hard to deal with their mother. It's too hard. So they didn't mean to run away, but they did. And we think we were abandoned, but we don't know what was going on back then. So how do we heal that relationship with our own dads, right? Heal the relationship with the mother of our children, and heal the relationship with our own kids. This is what I'm here to help men with. And so you see anything in this conversation, and if you can see yourself in it, if you know a man, a dad who you just know could be a way better dad, or struggling as a father, let's talk. I want to talk to him. I want to make this the last Father's Day where there was a lot of pain around the relationship with our kids. The last Father's Day that this has to happen. Okay? So let's talk. This year we're going to spend some time together. I'm doing some private coaching, on this subject in relationship to recovery as well, because we use the recovery principles. And I'm doing some groups. We got some groups coming up, so yeah, if you're interested, let's talk. Get in touch with me. I'll leave my number with this, and you can text me. You can message me on Facebook. If we're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, make a comment, leave me your number. I'll get in touch with you. Or touch base with me yourself. Anyway, that's it. Happy Father's Day. It doesn't matter what all the Father's Days have been like for you up until now. This is the last one where you're going to be freaked out or so guilt-ridden, because you're not being the dad you wanted to be. All right? We're going to help you deal with your challenges. That's it. So I love you so much. Thank you. And yeah, Dad's in recovery. Let's work together. Okay. Thanks. Cheers.